We are ReTect, detect, alert, remind. Our vision here at ReTect is to improve lives by creating simple and cost-effective technological solutions.
Our passionate team is very well-rounded, with various complementary skills ranging from technology to finance. My name is Kushi, and I'm the CEO.
My name is Akshay, and I'm the CFO.
Hi, I'm Sid, I'm the CMO.
My name is Trini, and I'm the co-CTO.
My name is Roshni, and I'm the co-CTO.
And I'm Nithya, and I'm the researcher.
Alzheimer's is a debilitating disease that robs you of your identity. You forget who you are. You forget who your family is. And eventually, you forget everything. Alzheimer's occurs in 3 main stages. And in the early stage, patients forget simple things like their phone or wallet. That is why we here at ReTect are focusing on early stage patients to be able to help them lead a normal life. I want to share a short story with you. Mrs. Dathani lives in Sammamish, Washington, and was recently diagnosed with stage 1 Alzheimer's. This is especially troubling as she also has type 2 diabetes. Since her diagnosis, she's been forgetting small things like her phone or medication. Recently, she forgot to take her diabetes medicine before she left the house. Later on in the day, she started feeling very sick and eventually started throwing up. No one around her knew what to do, and her son had to drop everything and rush over to take her to the hospital. This caused a lot of anxiety and stress for her whole family, and this caused them to have to worry about her safety and well-being while they were going about their usual routines. At the hospital, the doctor simply said that the only reason for her illness was that she had forgotten to take her medication. This is a major problem for Alzheimer's patients and their families all around the world, and that is why we made it our focus to help them. Now imagine if Mrs. Dathani had ReTect in her home. As she approached the door to open it and leave, the system would have detected her presence and reminded her to take her medication. She would have gone to take it and avoided all the other mishaps that occurred during her day. And that's why we're here today.
According to the Alzheimer's Association, 5.7 million people around the US are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and other dementia-related illnesses. By 2050, this number is projected to rise to 14 million people across the United States. By the time we're done with this presentation, 14 more people will be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. The money spent caring for each of these Alzheimer's patients is $24,000 every year. Caregivers provide, cumulatively that is, 18.4 billion hours of care across the United States. These statistics illustrate how big of a market there is and an even bigger opportunity for ReTect to step in and improve the lives of so many.
For the customer validation phase of our project, we interviewed 3 types of customers: doctors, patients, and caregivers. Based on our results, we learned that 100% of the people we interviewed stated that leaving behind important objects occurred often. Over 72% of the people we interviewed stated that current solutions did not help the individual remember to take their belongings, as the solution did not target the problem. 61% of the people we interviewed stated that they would pay $100 to $150 based on our product based on the descriptions given to them. Talking to these customers helped us improve our product design, as Roshni will talk about later, and help validate that we're trying to solve a current problem.
Here are a few testimonials from the people we spoke to. Susan, a caretaker, claims that her mother would forget her keys at home, causing disorientation and subsequent unnecessary stress. Dr. Justin testifies that there are no products that he is aware of which remind Alzheimer's patients to take their things with them.
So, what really is our product? Our product comprises a wearable, a base station, and a mobile app. The wearable is a waterproof, adjustable band with a passive RFID tag inside of it. This means it requires no power source, so the user can wear it at all times, and the wearable is used to signify the user. The base station includes a single-board computer, similar to a Raspberry Pi 3 for its Wi-Fi capabilities, an RFID sensor, a proximity sensor, a speaker, and a battery pack. When the user approaches and then opens the door, the base station detects their activity and then plays a message over the speaker. The message is configured in the app, and these configurations are stored in the base station. After playing the message, the base station then sends an SMS text to a recipient, either a caretaker or loved one, who's also identified in the app settings. The messages are configured per band, so if there are multiple users in one household, then each of them will have a unique message played for them. And the app and base station communicate over Wi-Fi, which is also used to send the SMS text as well.
So we actually built a prototype for you here today. Imagine that I am Mrs. Johnson. Every day I walk out the door and I forget to take my phone with me. This causes my family and friends a lot of stress and worry because they don't know where I am, they don't know how to contact me, and they don't know if I'm safe. To help give my family and friends some peace of mind, I purchased ReTect. With ReTect, whenever I walk out the door in the morning,
Hello, Miss Johnson. Did you take your phone with you?
it reminds me to take my phone with me. The great part about ReTect is that this message can be personalized to many different people. For example, when Akshay, playing Mr. Smith, walks by the door,
Hello, Mr. Smith. Did you take your keys with you?
it plays a different message, reminding him to take his keys. This means that people can be reminded to take things that they need the most. And for you guys too.
Yes, and for this demo, we used a short-range RFID sensor because we didn't have a long range on hand, but for the actual product, it will be longer range, so it can sense from 3 to 5 feet.
To get to where we are right now, we had to go through many different design iterations focusing on what the customers told us. The first idea that we had was a simple device that whenever the person left the door, it would play a loud beep. However, when we couldn't be sure that the person would remember to take their items with them when they left the house. To fix this, we created a second version. This version would only play a single message every time the person walked out the door. However, when we were talking to our customers, we realized that each person needed to take different things with them. So we fixed this in version 3, where Wi-Fi capabilities would enable the app to communicate with the device so a different message could be played each time. But what if there's 2 people living in the house with Alzheimer's? In version 4, there's a capability of having 2 bands used for the same device.
After examining many of the products available in the Alzheimer's field, we have found these few products to provide the most competition for our own. First are sticky notes. While sticky notes are very cheap at around $20 per year, they're highly ineffective, especially as they tend to fall off and need to be replaced often. On the other hand, caregivers are there, and although they are effective, they are extremely expensive, costing tens of thousands of dollars per year, and many people can't afford them. Other products similar to our own had issues such as not identifying if the individual was actually leaving the house, or if the individual had Alzheimer's at all. And another device was handheld, and the patient needed to remember to carry it around, defeating the purpose of the product itself. After examining these products, our product stands as the best option for an Alzheimer's patient.
ReTect will be directly sold and marketed to the family members and caretakers of the patients, who will then easily install it inside the patient's home. Users will also be just paying a one-time sum when they purchase the product. There are multiple versions of ReTect. With ReTect Dock, made for apartments, 1 wearable and 1 system are provided for the sum of $99. With ReTect, made for regular homes, 1 wearable and 2 systems are provided for the sum of $149. And lastly, with ReTect Plus, made for mansions, 1 wearable and 3 systems are provided for the sum of $199. In addition, users have the option to purchase additional bands for the sum of $20 in case there's another patient with Alzheimer's or they need a replacement. As Sid mentioned earlier, Alzheimer's patients spend approximately $24,000 a year on care. Compared to this, the price of our product, which helps to reduce the stress of family members of Alzheimer's patients, is trivial.
Now you might be wondering how we're planning to market our product. We have 3 main modes of marketing in a way: media, medical professionals, and word of mouth. With media, we plan to use Google AdWords. When a user or a potential customer types in a few keywords into Google, it redirects them to our website for more information and to actually make the purchases. We plan to use printed media such as newspapers, newsletters that are specific to Alzheimer's and medical in that ballpark, so that people that are actually marketed to are the actual people who are affected and will actually make the purchase. We plan to use Twitter and LinkedIn to connect with the doctors and caretakers, as those are the people who often work with the individuals and can actually make recommendations and refer our product to them. Medical professionals. A lot of doctors work with Alzheimer's affected patients, and they know what is needed from them. By giving those doctors free samples and by giving them educational sessions, we can help teach them about ReTect so that they can potentially recommend it and help improve the lives of their own patients. Lastly, word of mouth. Word of mouth is all about taking the experiences that you've gotten through ReTect and telling it to other people also affected. This can be done to community and support groups and a lot of places like groups where seniors gather, as seniors are the more people who are impacted by Alzheimer's.
We plan on selling our product mostly through our website. We will also be selling our product through a variety of retailers such as Amazon, eBay, and Walgreens, as they fit our target audience, and we believe we'll gain more credibility and also profits if we sell our product through these retailers. In addition, our product will be available at a variety of hospitals so that doctors can directly recommend their patients our product in case they want to purchase it.
So how are we going to grow from where we are today into impacting millions of people across the world? We have 4 different growth strategies. One is volume, another is newer versions, another is geographic expansion, and another is additional products. By volume, in the next 7 years, 2.5 million more people across the United States will be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. With a wider target market and more people impacted, that means there's more of a chance for us to do good and help those people out. With newer versions, using AI and smarter intelligence, we can have conversational and facial models to ensure efficiency with the system and security. With geographic expansions, we're focusing on the United States of America right now, but we're planning to expand to Western Europe, as there is a higher prevalence of Alzheimer's there, and even to Asian countries, as you can see in the map over there. Also, additional products. Right now we're focusing on Alzheimer's, but by keeping the constant goal of detecting, alerting, and reminding patients, we can expand to different illnesses such as diabetes. When your insulin levels are too low, you tend to take insulin shots. And by reminding patients to take those shots, we can really effectively make sure that their levels are at the correct rate, and by keeping our constant goal of detecting, alerting, and reminding, we'll be able to ensure that.
This chart showcases the first-year projections of our product with approximately 1,000 units. The total unit cost for our product is approximately $20 to produce. For 1,000 units, we can calculate the total revenue to be approximately $99,000. Now, by subtracting the total expenses from our total revenue, we get an annual gross profit of approximately $52,000, which translates to a 53% profit margin. In addition, each year, 5% of our total profits will be donated towards further Alzheimer's research and also to the World's Alzheimer's Association. This chart showcases the 5-year projections of our product. As you can see, the single line represents our prediction. For year 1, we are projected to make approximately $100,000. In the years leading up to year 5 of our company, we are projected to more than double our revenue to approximately $1.25 million in year 5, and a cumulative total of approximately $3 million.
So after designing our device, we knew we wanted to take it to the market. But our first question was, how are we going to protect our IP? The answer was to file for a patent. We currently have a non-provisional patent on our system as a whole, which includes the wearable, base station, and mobile app. Our non-provisional patent is still pending. As we discussed earlier, there's no product that's similar to ours in the market. Nothing similar has been patented yet.
With ReTect, Mrs. Dadani and her family will never again have to worry about her taking her daily dose of medication. There are millions just like Mrs. Dadani, and ReTect will help them live more happier and independent lives.
And based on what you've heard today, how would you like to be a part of the ReTect team and help us improve the lives of Alzheimer's patients everywhere? We are asking for $100,000 for 5% equity in our company. We would love to have you join our team and help us help Alzheimer's patients and their families all around the world. Investing in ReTect is a pledge, a badge of pride. Investing in ReTect means you don't have to choose between doing well and doing good. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
What a great idea.
We're sophomores, all of us.
Very well. Good start. Well, of course, this is your time.
So, well, first of all, before I ask some questions, I just want you guys to know that you are incredibly talented. So regardless of what we ask, you should know that what you have achieved not even 0.0001% of the kids your age in the world have achieved. So feel great about what you've done, okay? Now, having said that, I have a couple of questions. Maybe I'll just ask one first. Maybe I misheard you. But did I hear you say that you were going to sell your product, it's just a one-time charge? Is there any recurring revenue from existing clients?
So what we meant by that one-time cost is when the user first purchases the product, for example, just ReTect Dot for $99, they'll be just purchasing that $99 and they'll be getting the system and the wearable and everything that comes with it. And then there will be no recurring cost after that, and basically the amount of potential clients we get will just be buying that product for that $99 or that $149 or that $199. So that's essentially what it was.
So what happens when the next product that's a little more shinier, somebody can take your product, duplicate it, make it a little more shinier? How do you plan to retain customers?
We will be actually making newer versions we discussed in our growth strategy slide. We'll be having newer versions of the product with conversational methods or face recognition parts of it. So that would be adding more features and benefits to our product as well.
And we also plan to, like, every month do market research. As I'm the CMO, I will do market research, find out what the other products are, take those, see what they're doing good, what they're not doing good, and as Kushi mentioned, really kind of using those different versions of it and applying those to really make us the best in the market.
I want to build on Shalmina's point. I think if you look at an Alzheimer patient, their condition deteriorates over a period of time. So I think, to me, one way to think about your product is not only basically for tactical commands, which is you've forgotten this, forgotten that. Think about feedback loop. You're telling them something and you have a way to measure whether they're able to act on it or not. And you're building a profile on these individuals and helping them, progressively adding new aspects to what you're doing so that you can provide services over long periods of time. So I think, to me, that would be one of my suggestions. Now, if you do that, now what you're able to do is, instead of attacking a product with a new hardware, what you're able to do is you're building a history. Very similar to in Amazon. Like, for example, when I bought my first book and then I bought the next book, they're learning about me, and then therefore they can basically keep providing the best possible product that I would like to be interested in. Here, each data point allows you to build a richer profile that allows you to help that individual better. And if you do that, now you have a razor blade thing, which is you sell them a product, plus you're ongoing basically pushing new sets of functionalities in your app to help them, and you can have an ongoing revenue stream. So that's basically what probably you're implying about building the recurring revenues. It's less about the revenue piece, it's more about getting to know your customers over an extended period of time. Sometimes it's not relevant, but in this case, it will be extremely relevant because typically in Alzheimer's case, as you are a lot more knowledgeable than us are, things deteriorate over a period of time. And I think I will challenge you guys to think in that dimension.
And the relationship, it allows you to build a relationship with that client. The first time they purchase your equipment, you now have a new relationship. And then you can add value over time, as he mentioned. So just think about that.
When you talk to your target customers, how many Alzheimer patients you folks interviewed?
Well, so we interviewed 18 customers total, and about 12 of them were either Alzheimer's patients or caretakers of those patients.
And how many are all of them stage 1? Or any of them stage 2 or stage 3?
Yeah, all of them were stage 1.
Stage 1. So it's your target customers, stage 1,
Yes.
Alzheimer's. Okay, that's where you're focusing. You heard of a solution? Are you familiar with Tile? Tile?
He just happens to have one.
Yes. This is a tile. Okay, it pairs with your phone. You can have as many tiles. You can hang it on any of your stuff.
Yeah.
And basically pay. So I strongly suggest you look at Tile and why somebody would not use that and how you would actually market it, better than Tile. Because it's a pretty widely available solution, not just targeting Alzheimer's, pretty much everybody. We all forget things, right? So I think if you look at that, and I just want to make sure that you don't go into a rat hole, like pigeonhole, this thing. Sometimes product get into that. You want to have a broader market, because getting a small percentage of market penetration is always hard, right? And if you get that, then I think you can be very successful. So, but very impressed. So, how did you make this?
We didn't make them. We bought the bands themselves on Amazon, but with the money we're in our ask, we're planning on like building an RFID band and chip with a longer range.
So this is readily available?
Yeah, this all the parts in the prototype are off the shelf.
Okay, and so you basically put the solution together.
Yeah.
And if you go with it, would you actually manufacture all these things in your own?
Yeah, we were planning on like designing like a smaller circuit board, because as you can see right now it's pretty bulky, and we wanted to have it smaller and like less noticeable against the door.
Okay. Very impressive. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, very impressive.
I don't manufacture it, just outsource it, just design it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of shops who can do it a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So again, like since we're talking about, if you really want to pursue it, all the IP is in the concept and the design of the circuit board, but you don't need to manufacture it. There's all kinds of headaches.
I'd say outsource everything that's not your core competence. Somebody else can do it better, cheaper. You don't have to waste your time.
The other idea that I had for you guys was, from customer acquisition perspective, how do you reach out to more people very quickly, is why not go and talk to senior homes? Because you have a very high concentration of individuals who are in that demographic. And you guys have designed a product where you can have, I'm sure if you have designed it for 2 bands, you can design it for like 50 bands in one same location. Did you consider it, not consider that angle?
So actually, that's a good point you bring up. We were actually planning to target the elderly groups and those type of groups. So with that, like even on Facebook or online, those type of things, we'd also be going inside those retirement homes and also showcasing our product over there, and hopefully we get more customers that way. So that's a great point you bring up over there.
So just like any communion or get-together of, in our research we found that it's mostly seniors that are actually impacted by Alzheimer's. I mean, there are some exceptions with younger people, but that's where our target market lies in the early stages. So we're planning to use like groups, get-togethers, and actually if one person knows about it, then he can tell it to his friends who are usually impacted as well. And that's another great point you can bring up. So kind of diversifying that.
I think the reason the senior homes is an interesting angle,
Yeah.
throws a twist in your current business model, but it's worth exploring because it's, when you get a wholesale dealer, right? So instead of selling it to individuals, will senior homes be interested in adding it as an added functionality if you stay in those certain senior homes? And you can just negotiate a deal where essentially you just say, hey, for each senior homes based on the number of bands, but instead of just getting the customer acquisition one at a time, you might be able to negotiate a deal where you can get access to 100,000 customers in one shot.
I want to expand on what Satbir just said, is you really need to find channels to push your product, because you can't do one at a time. You would not be able to scale that way. So think of a reseller program. Maybe the senior homes could be resellers. They get a certain discount, they make some money, and resell it for you. So building an alliance partner ecosystem would be a good idea too.
Good question.
Last question.
Last question.
How many of you are ready to jump into this thing if you get funded and give up your college?
Great question. In other words, who believes in this strongly now?
Don't look at your dad and mom.
That's right. That's right. Do not. We know.
Speaking for myself, just like I'm really passionate about this idea. I think I could pursue it in college, kind of working at the same time, and college does provide a lot of beneficial skills to really harness and make your business plan better. So it'd be a beneficial tool on the side, kind of balancing your schoolwork and this.
Yeah, as Sid mentioned, I would also probably like probably try making this a lot better, like using the things I learned in college and stuff like that, because this is for a good cause. And if we donate our profits and everything to those Alzheimer's Association, then it's just benefiting the world essentially. So I think that's a really, really powerful and impactful thing. So I probably would also pursue that.
I agree with Sid and Akshay. I think that I would pursue this in college because college will give me some of the skills that I don't have right now to make our product better and reach more people.
Yeah, I agree, because you can use the skills in college to like make the company better, and then we can also like learn skills about like advertising and sales to really make the company more better.
I agree.
Very well answered, guys. Fantastic.
So, I think one last thought for you guys to think, since you guys are also trying to do it not only to make money but for having an impact, talking about nonprofit, why not take it 100% nonprofit? So here's an idea to think about. I don't have to basically answer it right now. Is I think there are lots of foundations who are focusing to. This has become a big issue not only in the United States, everywhere, because people are living longer. So the number of people who will get to the Alzheimer's stage, especially stage 1, the probability is basically increasing dramatically around the world. And governments may be interested in it, and so are basically foundations like Bill Gates. So I think one thing, if you're going to take it seriously, if you're going to be in school, do consider an angle where you may just basically you figure out a way to raise funds to have a much more dramatic impact, and instead of thinking about impacting 1,000 people at a time, you can go after basically a good chunk of people who can benefit from your offerings.
Well done.